Well, I wasn't sure if that intro was going to come out good, bad, whatever, because my computer decided to chug along last night, and I couldn't get it edited and rewatch it. So guess what? It was a little janky, but we're going to get over it. Hello, everyone, and welcome to our first live stream in over a year. I am your host, Tom Ye West. Go safe. It's fucking hot in this mask. I don't know how long I'm going to stick this out for. And my co-host, Alana motherfucking Maximus.
Salutations.
Yeah, I ain't doing this mask, man. It is fucking hot. I know my face. All right, everyone, welcome to our live Scream stream. Now, if you're new to the channel, new to watching us, we used to do a show called Ranked and Reviewed, which we still currently are doing, but in a different way. And it's not out right now. It's coming out. It's coming out. It's coming out as an alarm.
It is. It is.
So, for people that aren't familiar, we started Ranked and Reviewed last year in December. Actually, it's longer than that. It was December 2021, December 7th. Seems like it was yesterday, Alanis. The only reason I know that date, zero idea I know that date.
Guessing.
But we started Ranked and Reviewed in December of 2021, December 7th. And the whole thing that kickstarted that series was Scream. It was the first series we decided to rank and review. So that's every movie we ranked and reviewed. And we've got chat on the right hand side here now. If people want, when they want to chat, we can see what they're saying. So, sorry, I didn't mean to get sidetracked. I just did that and I was like, hey, better say something. So, we ranked all the Scream movies last year, starting from Scream in December, all the way leading up to Scream 5 when it was released. Was it January 18th, Alanis?
I believe so.
January 18th, 2022 was when Scream 5 came out. So, we started ranked and reviewed in December of 2021 with the Scream series, Scream 1, Scream 2, Scream 3, Scream 4, all the way up to Scream 5 when we did the review on the day of release. And that's what kickstarted this whole show. And that's awesome that we're back here. We're already back here. Didn't seem like that long ago, did it, Linus?
It really has gone fast. Oddly fast.
It has. It has. And we'll talk about it later because at the end of this podcast, after we talked a little bit about Scream 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, covered those bases and re-ranked them, we're going to go over some Scream 6 predictions, including what we think is going to happen, maybe the box office result, maybe if Ghostface is going to get his panty sucked or whatever this time. You never know, man. You just never know.
Never.
That would be a good side plot, yeah? Gale Weathers. Gale bringing the weather, just sucking goes. Okay, so let's get off track here. So we're going to start our Scream stream with our thoughts, overview, what we originally thought of it, and what we think of it now with Scream from 1996. Now, Alanis, as tradition dictates, you take the floor with your thoughts on the original Scream movie.
Yes. By far, my favorite one. I think it is probably one of the most clever in its little details and things like that, how the killers stab. As we pointed out in our first review, they both have kind of signature ways they're stabbing and moving when they're in their costumes. And I think I don't think anything's really recaptured the essence of the first movie. It's come close. There's some of the other movies have been good, but it's definitely the definitive kind of one for me at this point.
Yeah, I got to say, I'm a little confused, Alanis.
Yes.
Do you remember your ranking?
Yes.
What was your first one?
This.
No.
Really?
We both put Scream 2022 at number 1.
Yeah.
So, do you wanna hang a reverse and maybe make a U-turn and quickly you say if this is your favorite one or if Scream 5 is your favorite one? Because now I'm fucking confused.
That is interesting. We must have changed it later on in that video because I actually went back to get a screenshot and I had it.
Really? Because me and you both remember we both agreed it was the best one.
Huh. Well, I'll stick with it and say this is the best one.
Yeah, to a point. I think so too. I think that the opening scene, especially with Drew Barrymore, is probably the scariest thing and most intense thing that they've done in Scream so far. What would you say to that?
I agree, and I think it was that as well. The opening, they've never. I think the second Scream movie kind of came close. But
I got to push back. I'm going to push back there, but you keep talking.
I mean, for the opening scene, I don't know. I think it did anyway. I don't think any of the others have really kind of scratched the surface of what the first one did. Like for the most recent one, I don't know. I didn't like the whole the person doesn't die. I think that kind of broke the pattern in a way I didn't really like. But and the Cotton Weary one was also I guess interesting, but no, I think this is definitely the standout for the opening scene as well.
Fucking mute button, yeah. That's why I have to push, that's why I have to push back at you, bro. That's why I have to push back at you. Scream 2 does not even get close to how scary, how suspenseful, how crazy this opening scene is. Like, it is nowhere near as clever. It is nowhere near as like thought out. I don't know, just stabbing through like the toilet doors, not that great. And then like killing her in the like cinema is okay, I guess. But none of it reaches that level of this, where it's 12 minutes straight of just you're on the edge of your seat. And I still, when I watch it, it gives me like anxiety. Because it's just it's never ending. It just keeps going, you know, like building and building and building and building. Whereas the cinema thing, it's just like, I'll be back, babe. I'm going to the toilet. Goes to the toilet, and then you hear this, mommy, or whatever through the fucking wall. And then it just like gets stabbed by a fucking knife. And I can never not think about Scary Movie and the dick coming through the glory hole. So I think Scream, look, I love the Scream movies. I love most of them, except for one, which we'll talk when we get to it. But none of them are, we didn't need any more after this. Do you agree?
I do agree. I don't think they've it was interesting, like, 'cause I feel the most recent movie last year, Scream 5, they kind of tried to recreate it and didn't do very well. It was very similar in the way it felt, and I don't know. That was a good movie.
I really didn't think that the opening to this movie, Scream 5, was really that good.
Not at all, no. I think they tried to recreate it too much as well.
Especially considering we didn't get a kill.
Yeah, that is definitely what let me down.
I know they were trying to like do something different, but like, is it really as big a threat if Ghostface didn't kill at the start? Like, wouldn't you just be like, well, this Ghostface sounds like a bitch compared to the rest of them? You know what I mean? Like, I'm not too worried.
I'm still confused by that popcorn they have in America as well that you put on the fry pan as we're watching this video. Why don't we have that? And how it feels like a fire hazard as well. Anyway, like,
well, this proves it's a fire hazard. But you know what? I wonder how much the popcorn in this fucking thing on the stove burns if you're compared to like when you could put it in the microwave for too long. Because when you put it in the microwave, it's like there's like a line where it's like it's perfect, and then it's completely fucked.
It's a fine line either side as well, because that just before the perfect.
There's too many corn kernels.
Yeah.
Yeah, popcorn's a bitch, man. Popcorn's a motherfucker. It tastes great, especially cinema popcorn, but it's a motherfucker. So,
If when you get that like little shard of corn kernel stuck at the back of your tongue and you can't
dude,
get it off.
don't even get me started. But like, just watching the scene back now as we watch it, I know we've got no sound or whatever. But like, just how long it runs for, how great Drew Barrymore sells you on it, how great everything is plotted out. Like, as Alana said when he was saying what he likes about it at the start, is that when you watch it, and if you haven't seen it before, you're not going to pay attention to a lot of the things that we know after watching it, yeah? And that's it. There's two killers, obviously. Spoiler alert!
Oh, man, I don't know.
For a movie that came out in 1996. I hope you guys didn't have it spoiled for you, but you know what? Catch up. So, like, I don't know, man. There was something special about this entire movie and how no one knew there was two killers. But if you watch it and then watch it again, it's quite obvious there are two killers because of how quick this Ghostface can be in different places. You know what I mean? Like, in a minute, if we're still talking about it and the scene's running, when she's hiding outside the window and she like looks up the window and then he like turns around and does that stupid rah thing and then like smashes his head through the window and then she starts running past like her boyfriend who's like guarded on the patio, runs past him and then fucking Ghostface jumps out through a lattice and like tackles her or whatever. You know what I mean? And it's like, well, he just got knocked the fuck out through the window or whatever. And now he's running through and hitting a lattice. Like, it's very obvious that there was two killers this whole time. But if you don't know, which no one knew at the start, which was amazing, which is what made this movie. Oh, look, an ad.
Ah, yeah.
But fuck off, Adobe. You already charged me out the ass for everything.
They're not paying us.
No, I'm paying them, motherfucker. Well,
Appreciate Legends, though.
Well, I am kind of paying for it. There's a couple of programs that are a bit, R-rated. So, Alanis, what did you think about the twist at the end of this movie? Because really, back in 1996 when this movie came out, no one saw it coming.
Yeah, I can remember when I first saw it, I was always kind of dodgy on Billy, but then I was kind of like, nah, it's too obvious. And I didn't really see it coming. But then it came, and I was like, man. I'm pretty sure I had it spoiled for me as well. I can't remember. It might have been the second one I had
We all
spoiled.
go a little crazy sometimes.
Yeah. I can remember watching it, and it felt too obvious to be the case as well. It was interesting how they did it.
I'm having trouble remembering now. Even though I just watched it recently. Was it Stu that first let on that he was Ghostface and then Billy, or was it Billy and then Stu? Because I remember Stu walking in, yeah?
Yeah,
and he's bleeding or whatever, and he like looks like he's like not well or whatever, and he walks straight into her and he like pulls the thing out, the voice changer. Surprise, Sydney. You know what I mean? Like, so was it Stu or Billy first? No, it was Billy.
I think Billy, yeah.
Yeah, because he does the we all go a little crazy sometimes, and then shoots whoever, and then Nev runs into the kitchen and runs into Stu. And she's like, Stu, thank God. And he's like, surprise, Sydney. And the thing I wanted to talk about with you with this is something we've talked about before. And that's, do you think Stu was in love with Billy?
I kind of get that feeling. Like, there's a bit of a man crush going on there, I think.
Like, I honestly think he, like, really, like, was attracted to him, like, drawn to him, like, wanted to fuck him. Because it's just so weird. They're, like, their closeness at the end. You know what I mean? It's not like, it's like me and you, where if we were, like, on a team killing people, and at the end we'd just be like making dick jokes or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, these guys are like, you know, he's like hugging him and stuff, and he's like holding his shoulder, and he's like, killed a lot of people. It was fun, or whatever that line that he does and shit. And while we're talking about that, what do you think about how the actors did in this movie?
I think they did a good job. I think it was this was a bit of a breakthrough for a few actors as well, wasn't it? Like Matthew Lillard, he didn't really do anything before this, if I'm right.
No, not that I know of, but I don't think Skeet Ulrich had either. Hey,
Yeah. Like definitely Nev Campbell had done. Like, actually, where she came from? She come from something before.
Party
this.
of Five.
That's the one. Oh man, that takes me back to something I never watched and didn't want to remember.
That takes me back to 1990, whatever that was on, and that I never watched, and that my sister would always talk about, and I'd be like, "No, I want to put on The Simpsons and the Jeff Foxworthy show." So, I mean, yeah. Look, this is a classic movie. There isn't much more to say on this movie without just sounding like we're sucking its dick, kind of thing. You know what I mean? Like literally, this movie is perfect. I don't think there's anything in this movie that I would change. What about you?
I agree. I don't think I would change anything about it. Really, it's pretty well contained. To
Do you
itself.
want to know? Wait. You want to know a mind-blowing fact?
What?
When was the first time that Ghostface was recognized with the name Ghostface? Think about it. Think about it hard. Who said it first?
That's a good question. I actually can't think of when it first came up.
Tatum. In the garage.
Oh, really?
Mr. Scary Ghostface guy or whatever.
Ah, yes.
Right? And then on the costumes, this costume is meant to be a costume you could buy from a shop and wear. On that costume, do you remember what the packaging said the costume was called?
I do not know.
Father of Death. Now, no one was around to hear Tatum call Ghostface Ghostface. No one else referred to Ghostface as Ghostface in the first 3 movies until we got to Scream 4, where suddenly everyone referred to him as Ghostface, and all the buying him, like the costumes and stuff now, say Ghostface on. So, we have a little fucking problem here, don't we?
Yeah.
Because Tatum, who's now dead, no one was around to see it or what happened, called him Ghostface. And then suddenly no one else was calling him Ghostface till the 4th one. And everyone's like, this is an entire new Ghostface. And everyone's like, hey, how'd you come up with that cool name? And it's like, the dead chick that, got wound up in the garage door. So, I mean, look, perfect movie, perfect twist. And I'm telling you, anyone, go back and watch this movie if you haven't seen it in a while. Because what I want you to do is go back knowing what you know about the movie, which is the twist, the killers, blah, blah, blah. But I want you to focus on if you can tell who's killing who, if you can find out where Ghostface is in the house, which Ghostface is where, how many killers were at every scene. Trust me, it's so much more fun to watch when you know everything because you spot things that you're like, oh my God, you know what I mean? And remember, we weren't interested in Scream when Scream 5 was coming out. Me and you were like, fuck it, we don't care. And then I started getting down the rabbit hole of like trying to work out who killed who of Stu and Billy. And I told you, and you were like, I'm going to watch this again. And next thing we knew, we were like all in on Scream. You know what I mean? Like, so I'm telling you, this sells. Like, this movie will sell you every time you watch it. Even if you know what's going to happen, you'll notice something different every time. And that's the best thing about this movie.
Yes.
So, I say we move on.
Yes.
2 more important things. And that is the sequel. Scream 2, which, believe it or not, only came out a year after the first one. 1997. 1996, Scream came out. Now, that's what I wanted to talk to you about, Alanis. We got Scream 5 last year. We're getting Scream 6 this year. I think Scream 2 was quite a step down from the first movie. And do you think that was because it was done in a rush? Do you think it was because the script leaked and they had to change things? Like, what do you think it was? Because I don't know if everyone knows, but Scream 2 did leak. The script got out. They had to make changes. Then they had to send out more false scripts with different story plot lines to throw people off even more. And then they leaked the real one because they thought people wouldn't take the real one seriously anymore. So there's just like whole like problem
Well,
with these movies.
It's weird how much it was these things are leaking, how easy it did happen even pre the internet. So,
Yeah, well, dude, it was like apparently when it got to Scream 2, everyone had to like put their names on the script on every piece of paper and shit. So that if one piece was photocopied missing, they knew exactly where it came from and they could fucking have a go. One of them said that they were like in the parking lot and the wind caught the script and took the pages everywhere and they were running around the parking lot like freaking out that they had gotten every page.
Interesting.
Like, that's the problem with these movies is the secrecy. Now, we all know in Hollywood, secrets aren't really kept very well.
And people suck.
Yes, and want to ruin it for everyone. And especially with something like Scream 2, like, I mean, the whole point to Scream, we know what the point is, don't we? It's a whodunit. Want like that's the point. If you go in knowing who it is going to be hands down a less fun experience for you. The first time you watch it. Once you've watched it once, it's fun going back and watching it, noticing things you didn't notice. But having it spoiled before you even get to see it, that's different, you know? And I'm not going to say what. You know what the best thing is? I had Scream 6 spoiled for me. Apparently I got told exactly who both or whatever the killers were. You know, how many there were or whatever. I'm not going to spoil it for anyone, so I'm going to just leave it very vague. But the best thing about that, Alanis, I already forgot their names. I already forgot their names. And even when they say it in the movie, I know I'm not going to be like, that's the name I read. You know what I mean? I don't know shit anymore. It was almost like my brain went, nope, don't want to know it. So, Scream 2. Give me your thoughts, Alana.
I do rank this movie pretty highly. I definitely put it above the third movie. It does have some really dull moments though. Like I think we've talked about it. I think numerous times. That whole theater scene, just really. I don't know. It was just a really dull scene that kind of broke the momentum of the movie, and didn't make a lot of sense. And I didn't really care for it.
How do you feel about the Miss Loomis aspect and all that shit?
I didn't mind it. I think it was very kind of the flavor at the time and the social climate with what they did with what's his name, Timothy Oliphant's character being the whole blame the movies kind of thing. And then with kind of what happened around the third movie, I thought was kind of interesting. But I think overall this movie still delivered pretty strongly. Like as far as sequels go, it definitely wasn't that usual hole that a lot of things fall into where they're just not as good unless you're James Cameron. I think it was still. Yeah.
I didn't like the Mrs. Loomis thing. I felt like it was too borrowed from Friday the 13th. Like the mum thing, you know what I mean? I also would have preferred if it was Mickey. Originally, as we said, the script leaked, they had to change things. Originally, her African-American friend that roommated with her was supposed to be one of the killers.
Ah, I think I remember either you saying that or hearing about that.
So the part where they're like in the police car and they're trying to climb over him. Like, yeah, she was meant to be all in on that and stuff. But that, I will say, is probably the best scene in this movie.
Yes.
When they are trying to climb over him knocked out in the police car. It's the most tense part of this movie. Now, there are parts of this fucking movie that I can't stand. And that is the musical shit. I hate it. Like, I still don't get it. Was she seeing Ghostface for real with all those people surrounding her on the stage with the masks on? Or was she imagining it? Because if she really did see a Ghostface on the stage, how come no one else saw him, considering he was dressed as Ghostface? Like, do you find that this movie has some weird, boring parts in it that are just like, I could have done without?
Definitely. That I think the main part is that theater scene. It's just a weird scene. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense. It doesn't define itself super well, and I don't know. It didn't fit. Like, I don't think it needed to be there. I didn't think it needed to go as long as it did. It just, yeah, it's one of those points in the movie where you just kind of go, you suddenly remove from it, like the movie itself, and you're checking your watch, kind of going, huh.
And
Wow.
what I think is weird too is if you watch this scene we're watching right now, Americans, if you're watching this, please tell us. Is it really like this in the movies? This rowdy for like a movie, say like Scream? Like, look at everyone. Like, this is a Real Big Fish concert. This is not a movie. Like, have you ever been to a cinema and had the crowd doing that, bro?
No, I'd probably be annoyed if they did as well.
Fucking oath. Dude,
I can't even
The
stand
first time-
clapping in movies.
the first time I heard, the first time I fucking heard people make noise in a cinema ever was when we went and saw Avatar 2 at IMAX, and we saw the behind the scenes thing of Tom Cruise on Mission Impossible when he did the motorbike parachute off the cliff. And like literally when he goes off the cliff, everyone in the cinema was like, woo! That was it. Like, that wasn't even during the actual movie. No one cared like as much, you know? And you'd think with something